This guy steals cats all the time. Calicos, Persians, Siamese, the ever-elusive orange tabby, you name it. And he loves the process of chasing them. They go up a tree, he climbs. They go under a car, he slithers. They hide in a dumpster, he dives. So when he says, at least 5 times a day, "Go cats," he means it. Go. Cats, like, run. Now, please welcome Tom Cat Koulentes.
Next up, looking to usurp Mr. Schaefer as LHS's #1 bird watcher, she attempted in 2017 to document all species of birds in Illinois. At the end of the year, she had documented only 2, seagulls and pigeons, even though sparrows and robins were constantly in her backyard. She didn't realize that geese were birds, and she thought chipmunks were. In fact, the eggs students try to protect in her physics class, up until yesterday, she thought they came from pigs. So she may not be lying, she may just be ignorant. Nonetheless, please welcome Miss Torrence. All right, so here's their task. They are going to get from a magic envelope a place, a situation, and 2 people. Their job is to then go backstage and write a narrative in about 20 or 25 minutes, however long we give them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So Ms. Shanebeck has the magic envelope. If you could please open that for us.
Do that. We have the same.
You have the same. And they have clipboards and paper to write down what the magic envelope reveals.
First card, department store Santa. I think so. Santa is real, Dr. K.
What else would it be? Food? Yeah. No, it's an actual person.
Second character involved, a person with an unfortunate nickname. One situation you have to incorporate, the travel agent was wrong. And the last element you have to incorporate is a fishing boat.
Fishing boat.
Challenge posed.
Got it. I'm on.
Get to it. Wish them luck, everybody.
Is that job? You got it all?
You got it all. I'm ready.
Santa is a person.
I'm going to remember that.
I don't think he's going to remember. All right. How many of you have seen White Club before? Yeah, cool. All right. So we are going to be introducing our Right Club competitors. Here's how this works. Each one of them has an idea or a word or a concept that they are going to be arguing for. They can write whatever they want in order to convince you that their word, idea, or concept is superior to the other. So today, we are going to have 2 faculty members debating each other on whether we should prefer music or math. But what's interesting is that they're each taking the opposite subject that they teach. I know. I see, yeah, I can feel that terror and suspense in the audience. So, we're going to go ahead and introduce our competitors. After high school, he tried culinary school, but he was expelled after accidentally burning the kitchen down. Then he tried aviator school, but he was forced to leave after his first time in the cockpit. We're not going to talk about it. Next, he tried Iowa State School of Agriculture, only to quit 1 semester in. And when, after that, he applied to the Rhode Island School of Design, they sent him a rejection letter that simply said, LOL, no. Finally, he got into music education, which is what his high school aptitude test said he should go into anyway. Happy to have him here, Mr. Marino.
No, stand in the middle. Stand right there.
Before the X Games started in 1995, the W Games was the biggest competition for extreme sporters, but it wasn't televised, and you can't find anything about it on the internet, sadly, because this faculty member won 4 gold in 4 events at the 1985 W Games, 3 in skateboarding and 1 in BMX freestyle. Her triple loop-de-doop-de in the skateboard park event was historic. No one has ever done a triple loop-de-doop-de on a skateboard since. Please welcome Sarah, the Shredder Gourley. You got the chicken? You're in trouble, Marino. All right, we have a very scientific process for choosing who goes first. It is a rubber chicken that makes noise.
Whoever the chicken had points to goes first.
Ms. Gourley.
It's super. They all got paid.
So I have to tell you, this is my first time doing this, and I was just talking to Dr. Koulentes out there, and he said, you know, it's okay to be nervous. It's probably normal to be nervous. So just like you guys, when you try something new, go for it, because it's worth it.
Ba-dup. Ba-dup. Ba-dup, ba-dup. Ba-dup, 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 ba-dup.
It doesn't matter where we live or what languages we speak. When we hear that music, we know there's a shark coming. Thanks to John Williams for that, and a shout out to my low brass friends. Music evokes emotion. When we hear it, our brains naturally call up memories. We see a picture in our minds. Music makes us feel in many ways. Back when I was growing up, our family took a lot of road trips. When we packed the car, one essential item was the container of a variety of cassette tapes. Now, I'm a little bit older than most of you, so CDs weren't available back then, and neither was Sirius XM radio. We took turns choosing which tape we would listen to and then rotated from one person to the next. When it was my dad's turn, it would be classical music, frequently Vivaldi's The Four Seasons, or perhaps Mozart's Eine kleine Nachtmusik. You know, bum, 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 bum. For my mom, it was Pete Seeger, Peter, Paul, and Mary, or maybe Charles Aznavour, a French-Armenian singer-songwriter who has been dubbed France's Frank Sinatra. For me, it was soundtracks from Disney movies and show tunes most of the time. Those memories are still clear today and many decades later. Why? Because of the music. As the daughter of 2 college professors, other things happened in the car, including memorizing state capitals as well as multiplication tables. Yep, that's where I worked on learning that 7 times 8 is actually 56. That one was always tough for me. Did you know that thanks to the commutative property of multiplication, 8 times 7 is also 56? Oh, wait a second, I'm on the other side, I digress. Music, right. So music brings up emotions. Music helps us make memories. Music is always there, loyal and true. Loyal and true. Loyal and true. We pledge allegiance to you. This is our motto. And we are one for all and all for alma mater. Here's to our school. Do you guys recognize this? And long and high may she rule. Forevermore you will find us always loyal and true. Yay, rah, team! Yay, rah, team! Rah, 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 rah. Yay, rah, team! Yeah, that was the school song. Loyal and true, good stuff, and all music. Friday game day mornings with the drumline marching throughout the building just burst with energy. Images of warm September and crisper October and November Friday nights are palpable when I hear that song. What makes that happen? It's the music. Music isn't only for Fridays, though. It is for every day. I started taking classical piano lessons at the age of 5, and I knew that I could count on my old friend the piano whenever I needed a place just to be me. The piano was there no matter whether it was a good day or a bad one. Our family got a dog when I was 7, and I became a big sister when I was 8. But the piano was there long before either Lady or Liz arrived in my life. Not only can people play instruments to fill in the emptiness we sometimes experience, but we can perform with others, like in band or orchestra, jazz or choir. Making music is a social activity. You can even play music to send a message to others. For example, have you seen it? Imagine John Cusack's character in the movie Say Anything, trying to woo the girl of his dreams while holding a giant boombox over his head. Music is the soundtrack of our lives. Imagine sitting in the car, driving around, and your favorite song pops onto the radio. Or maybe it's not your favorite song, but it's the perfect song for the moment. Music tells a story, whether there are lyrics or not. Just hearing the first few measures of a piece or the first few notes in the opening of a song is a foreshadowing of what is to come. Singing, we will rock you. Exactly. See, music is fun. Hearing the first few notes of a tune on the radio turned into a pop quiz in our house. We wanted the kids to be cultured, so we made sure they got a healthy dose of the good old stuff from time they were little. My husband, Sean, still today asks the kids if they recognize the band that is playing, and because they're friends too. So, you come to the Gourley car, you get to learn a little bit about music. And no Shazamming allowed, by the way. That's cheating. My aunt recently reminded me that our very own Dr. Brown asked the students at a concert a few years back to imagine a world without music. Ugh, just think how awful that world would be. Music brings people together. Arthur Fiedler, longtime conductor of the Boston Pops Orchestra, used to say that lots of young people met their spouses at Pops concerts in the summer on Boston Commons. Romance is in the air when music is being played. Imagine taking a date to a concert at a place like Ravinia. Great music, perfect evening out under the stars. Life doesn't get much better than that. But how many couples met discussing the quadratic formula? Oh, right, there's music for that too. X equals the opposite of B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. See, music helps you memorize things. It helps you learn things, and then they stick with you. Sometimes maybe a little too long, like the song that you can't get out of your head, but it's still helpful. Finally, music does many things, but one of the most important is to make us feel at home. Have you seen the Alexa commercial that starts with the dad sharing his favorite music with his young daughter? It takes viewers through her adolescence and all the way up to the final hug after he has dropped her off at her dorm room for her first semester of college. Then he is left, and as she is ready to start her new adventure, but sad to see him go, the young woman lays down on her bed and says, "Alexa, play Dad's playlist." When she hears the opening riff, she smiles, closes her eyes, and we all know that she is going to be okay. She is home. Why? Because of the music. Perhaps John Denver said it best. Take me home, country roads, to the place I belong. That can happen thanks to music. Music is so powerful, it can take us anywhere.
Fan club or not, Marino, you got an uphill climb here. Okay. Oh my gosh, don't boo. I know, that's a red dot.
You need this taller.
Yeah, I forgot I didn't know what you guys were doing.
Do you want to hold it?
We'll see. Yeah, maybe.
All right, just make sure you're close enough.
All right.
You got this.
I'm good. I'm totally good. All right, look, music is fine. If you have some free time to kill, if you want to impress your friends in the summer barbecue by playing some guitar, music might make you smile, it might make you tap your toe. You may even be inclined to pay money to go see a favorite artist so you can tap your toe live. Sure, there are a couple of benefits. But think of all the things music can't do for you, the super important things that really matter in your life. For example, when you graduate from college, how are you going to get that sweet job as a corporate accountant if you don't learn math? They don't just give away those cushy half-walled cubicles next to the guy who clips his toenails during his lunch break. You have to earn it by spending numerous years learning that beautiful math. Sure, you may be sitting in that fluorescently taupe enclosure listening to some band or another with your toe clip canceling headphones on, but listening to that band ain't gonna make payments on your used 2007 Nissan Sentra with a discolored left fender. You could only possibly hope to derive this sort of success by sticking with math. Plus, you're a beast with those digits. You love getting into the asymptotic weeds, calculating all the dope loopholes your millionaire client can use to avoid taxes. That's some serious life fulfillment right there. Brought to you by math. Music? Please. It's a silly abstraction. It's a fool's errand. You're just moving atoms around at semi-regular intervals. I'm doing that right now. Blah, 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 blah. Look, Mom, I'm making music. Lame. But not for you all. Stick to the maths, as they say in faraway lands. You can do much cooler things than bear oral witness to the atomic pulsations of noise. For example, you can look to the stars, and you can calculate their motion in the cosmos with algebra and geometry and general relativity and specific rationality and Einstein proudly looking over your shoulder. You can predict our cosmic future, where X equals wormholes and Y equals dark matter and delta equals the confluence of your swelling rivers of mathematical prowess. You can see into the future. Like a revered sage standing atop the sacred mountain of academia, you can profess and prophesy with unboundable joy about our eventual annihilation by an asteroid. Or we can gather 360 and hear you describe that final universal utopia where Hubble's constant has been crushed and everything and everyone and every whatever will be exists in a dark and cold emptiness, accelerating into the oblivion so fast that light can't even show us the way. Talk about music to one's ears. Even Yeezy can't throw that kind of sick beat down. How important can music be anyway? What's the purpose? What is it saying? Half the time there aren't even lyrics, so then it's not even saying anything. Probably because it has nothing to say. Even when there are lyrics, I can't understand most of them, so that can't be that important. And some people like to say music speaks to them. Really? It's probably saying, I'm done. Go be useful and learn some math. Good advice. Wouldn't you rather be an engineer or a computer coder? That'd be way cooler. And you could really help society by building artificial intelligence or some kick-ass robots. You could be the hero that designs the next best self-driving vehicle so that truck and taxi and delivery drivers don't have to be burdened with gainful employment anymore. Or maybe you'll develop the perfect AI coding that finally brings about computers as smart or smarter than humans. Now, of course, that would also mean you'd probably put yourself at a job, probably with every other human being on the planet. And many forecasters predict if we do accomplish that kind of artificial intelligence, it will likely have little need for humans at all and may find our existence at odds with its primary goal set, in which case we'd all just be eliminated like an anthill on a construction site. But, assuming your coding creation doesn't mean the extinction of all humanity, think of all the glorious free time we'll have. What would we do with that expansive horizon of endless leisure? No more work to worry about. Our variable options are x to the nth power. We could watch movies. We could read a book. We could explore the world. We could listen to a fascinating lecture about mathematics. The possibilities are endless as the blissful dystopia you've created for us. So in conclusion, one can clearly see the correlation between choosing math and living a life of exponentially increasing joy in its functional practicality, while choosing to continue with music in any manner can set you on a slippery slope that sends you rocketing below the x-axis of decency into an abyss of negativity. No friends, no job prospects, no hope for meaning in a once promising life. Let's use two simple equations to describe these possible conversations about your future with your parents. Here's one. I want to go into a life of math equals, I'm so proud of you, kiddo. I'm so proud to be your supportive and non-judgmental guardian. Versus 2, I want to go into a life of music equals, oh, God, no, please. Sure. See, there's no choice. It's as simple as calculating pi. You know what the right answer is, and no rounding is required. Sure, every now and again you may want to sing along to a catchy tune in the shower or bob your head to the thump of a fat bass line. But just remember that these are the gateway steps to pain and suffering. There is finite joy, yet infinite disappointment along that path. The surer bet is to be placed with math. Get a job, feed your cats, pay the rent on your studio garden apartment next to the L. In other words, live the high life that only math can bring you. The formula has been laid out. The calculations are easy. The answer is rational and logical because numbers don't lie. Thank you.
You brought it, man.
Come on, he brought it. That was great. All right. So now, audience, it's your turn to decide who won this battle of words. So I want you to think about it. Really think about it. Vote with your conscience, not with the person next to you. Okay, are you ready? By applause, how many of you think Mrs. Gourley won this contest? It's the first time that anyone's ever received a standing ovation. Just want you to know. How many of you, by applause, think that Mr. Marino won this contest? Okay, so all three of us over here think that's a tie, so we're going to let the chicken decide. So can you come up? Oh, there's, yeah. Okay. Mrs. Shaneback is going to flip the chicken, and whoever it points to is our winner. Mr. Marino is the winner based on the chicken's decision.
All right, we're gonna let you guys sit on the couch for a second.
Oh.
Take this with you, and then
We all went to music school, so we don't really know how to decide things mathematically. We have time now for questions.
Hello?
Anything you would like to ask that is appropriate, that is fitting for Writers Week.
Hello?
Not why Mr. Marino chose a green sweater or something like that, like a, good, thoughtful question. It is kind of dark in here. You can raise your hand high up. I will come to you, or Miss Shanebeck will come to you, maybe. Yes.
hello.
Say that again. Turn up the yellow mic in the booth. If someone could turn up the yellow mic, that would be wonderful. Thank you. Okay, question.
I have a question for Mr. Marino, even though I thought Ms. Gourley also did a really great job. How did it feel to write about music in such a negative way?
I think the question was how did it feel to write about music in a negative? Well, I mean, I hope if you know me, I have a slight sarcastic bent in my nature. So it's easy because I have the sarcasm on anything, but I was kind of turning it around too. So it was kind of pro math, but kind of not pro math at the same time. But that was kind of fun. I was just trying to look for a fun way to come at it.
We have another question here.
I'm trying to think how to word this. What about combining both aspects of math and music? Like there are plenty of songs that are based off of math. Like, trying to think of some. Lateral Alice off the top of my mind is all based on the Fibonacci sequence. What do you think with your argument? Do you think they could be equal instead of one better than the other?
Are you asking me or Mrs. Gourley?
I'm asking both of you since you both argued against
Well,
each
I'll let
other.
you answer first.
Okay. I would say absolutely. I'd say in life you have to follow your passion. So Jackson, if you're a math guy and you follow math, that is equal to someone else who's a music person needing to follow music. But yeah, I feel like having music ever since I was little, but not being a music teacher, I still appreciate it quite a bit. And so I feel blessed to be able to combine the two.
I would just say that they're both doing the same thing, which is trying to describe what we see in the world. And one is looking for numbers to make sense of like why things move and why things come out the way they do. And music is trying to make sense of why we feel certain ways, why we think certain things. And so they're both being used in just different ways, but after the same kind of goal. Like how do I make sense of this thing that we're in called life?
I have a question for you too. See those awesome freshmen in the first couple rows there? They have to write an argument and perform it in a few weeks. Do you have any tips of taking a piece of writing and kind of delivering it so your audience is sold?
Well, I don't know if I did that or, but I guess one of the things that I was writing stuff and it seems pretty obvious when you write it, like, oh, this works. And then if you have to speak it out loud and you haven't done that before, you start coming across a whole bunch of trap words that are hard to say out loud. But when you're reading it, you don't even not really saying it. You're just kind of reading. So just make sure that you practice saying things over and over again. And I know that was always awkward for me. Just even I was doing it just before I came out here, and it was like really uncomfortable. In my office, I felt like a weirdo saying things out loud, and people walking by and like, what is going on in there? But it was just important to just kind of make my mouth say those words before I was out here, because some of them were just hard to kind of put together. But when you don't really notice that when you just write them down.
Definitely, and I went with big print. You guys can maybe read it from there. I figured that it's better you're going to be nervous when you start presenting something anyway, but if you can at least have something that's a little more comfortable, that's good. If there's a time limit, Mrs. Shanebeck, I don't know if their argument is supposed to have a certain time limit, figure that when you get up and are starting to speak, you might speak really fast because you're nervous, so keep that in mind if there's any time component to your assignment.
Any other questions?
I would just follow up on that as far as selling a thing. You're already, everyone who's been an audience member, even though you feel like everyone's going to make fun of you when you try to sell something and be, humorous or put some kind of interesting thing to it, as an audience member, you always appreciate when people do that. So just think of it that terms, like, oh, I don't want to, I'm just going to read it really straight, and I'm just going to read through it and I'll be done. And then, of course, when you see people do that as an audience member, you're like, well, that's kind of boring and whatever. But so I'm just saying, you may think you're putting yourself out there and people are going to make fun and think you look weird, but actually they're going to appreciate you doing that because everybody else is going to be reading it straight and not putting interest into it. So, just kind of, you can play around with the way you say it and like, oh, am I saying it like this, or am I saying it as a question or whatever? But people are going to appreciate that effort, and because it'll be different than everybody else's.
How hard was it to write about your, the opposite thing that you teach and love?
Well, I feel like, I snuck a little math in there still, so I was able to not completely go on one side, but at the same time, there's so many beautiful things about music that I just focused on the positive.
From a writing teacher's perspective, guys, I'm wondering how long it took you to do this. Sorry.
Oh, right
here.
Oh, yeah. You asked how long?
Yes.
I'm horrible at writing. All of you who are bad at writing, like, I am worse than you. Like, I turned everything in when I was in high school, like, a week late, like every essay assignment. So I just stare at words for a long time, or actually I don't stare at the words because I just avoid doing the assignment, until the last possible second, which I'm sure none of you can appreciate that. So yeah, it takes me a long time. So this took me, even though it was like 5 minutes, it probably like 4 to 6 hours, just because I'm just like staring at words a long time and like rewriting it. And so yeah, it's brutal for me. So just don't feel alone out there if it sucks for you as well.
Yeah, and I would say you don't necessarily need to sit down and block out hours. I know I find this not only in writing, but in other things too. I think, it's going to take me a long time to do this, so I should just procrastinate and wait until I actually have 3 hours to do something, and then I'll have enough time to get it done, but then you never have the 3 hours that you think you're going to. So even when I would come up with an idea, I'd jot it down, and then I'd all of a sudden have 5 ideas, then I'd have 10 ideas, and then I'd kind of put them in, and I created my doc, and I was able to let it flow. But don't think that your adventure is insurmountable. You can totally do it. You just need to go a little step at a time.
Awesome. On that note, let's give them a round of applause, everybody. Thank you very much. We'll check in with our writers. Miss Naslin, are we ready for Koulentes and Torrence?
We are. Our improv writers are all done. Dr. K is still writing furiously, and I think he still doesn't believe that Santa's real. So we're going to go ahead and bring out Ms. Torrence.
Do you want to read it holding the mic? Do you want to go with it to the...
Sure. All right. Good day, good day, good day. I'm a science person. I'm not much of a writer. Here goes. It had been a long day. Santa's beard was disheveled, his lap was a bit damp, his stocking cap was nowhere to be found. It seemed like a good day for the elves, but Santa had had enough. He was so excited that today was his last day before the big holiday, which for him was New Year's, let's be honest, because after the screaming mall scene, the last thing he wanted to do was see wrapped packages or blinking holiday lights. Santa was ready. He was taking off on a tropical travel. It turns out it was a vacation to the sunny Cayman Islands. He had spent years saving up every dime. He was so thankful that his trusty elf Blinky was not only his best friend, but was also quite the travel agent. You would think that in the era of internet for everyone, that Blinky's skills with ordering airline tickets and hotel rooms wouldn't really stand out from the crowd, but Blinky knew about the incognito window. In case you aren't as versed in internet odds and ends like Blinky and Miss Nasland, the incognito window lets you search airlines without them spying on you and upping the prices every time you go check rates on flights to wherever your heart desires. Blinky had the ability to find the best rates anywhere. Blinky typed Cayman Islands in December or January to see what he could do to help his friend Santa. He'd been meaning to get Santa a gift one of these years, but he could never find the right thing. He almost opted once to sign Santa up for a Beard of the Month club, but thought Santa might frown upon the thought, so he canceled the order. Blinky figured that this vacation was the best way to treat Santa to something special. With a few clicks of the button, Blinky had set the best vacation into motion. When Blinky typed the desired location into the internet machine, he really thought he entered everything correctly. Santa would be so surprised and thrilled that nothing else mattered. Santa sent his last punch card of the Christmas season through the machine, and he was off the clock and done with his work year. While the real Santa had tons of work ahead and the elf on the shelf had another night of mischief, the department store Santa was done until next year, but honestly that means Easter because he moonlights as the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy to get the bills paid through next winter's holiday shopping extravaganza. Santa got out of the mall and he headed to the airport. He drove, not sleigh ride, because again, this isn't the real Santa. He boarded the plane. His pants still had a little bit of the damp smell from the kiddos, but none of this mattered when he reached his surprise vacation destination Blinky had set up for him. He buckled his belt on the plane and closed his eyes, hoping that the next week would be the best of his decade. He would bring in the new year with warm air and a fishing boat and smiling faces and a friendly island adventure location because Blinky was the best. He really was. He blinked a lot, obviously, but he really came through in a pinch. The blinking, by the way, was actually really charming. When he blinks while typing, though, sometimes it causes issues. It turns out that Catman Island isn't quite as fun. It's just a location in the middle-ish area of Lake County where this weird guy collects cats and keeps them on display. It's also really cold there during December and January. Oh well, Santa has seen worse. I hope the cats don't pee on him. Go Cats!
I'm getting tired of people saying I'm not good at writing and then being good at writing. I'm looking at you and you.
Did I say I wasn't good? I don't do it a lot.
We like to use a growth mindset. You're not good yet. You've got to practice. It's about the process. It's not about the outcome. It's about the process. I went old school. You guys know what this is? Pen, right? All right. We used to write with these. All right, here we go. Skid never understood why the other kids called him Skid. He always wanted a nickname. I mean, who doesn't want a cool nickname? As a young boy, he was awed by Dr. J, the Babe, the Mick, the Italian Stallion, Rhino Sandberg, even Tom Brady, the GOAT. Nicknames convey a superpower, a super skill. In a sea of Adams and Jimmys and Michaels, they make one stand out. They make you immortal. But Skid? Skid doesn't convey power. Skid isn't a talent. Skid is something somebody does when they need a quick stop. Try as he might, Skid couldn't understand where this name had come from. For all his life, he was known by the other kids as his name that his mom gave him, Armand. Try as he might, he couldn't get a nickname. He tried to show the kids his four-leaf clover and his rabbit's foot, hoping that one day they'd call him Lucky. Didn't work. He bleached his hair and his eyebrows, hoping they'd call him Whitey. Didn't work. He tried to learn to write, eat, and throw with his left hand, so they might call him Lefty. Didn't work. He even wore this big alligator tooth necklace Something he got mail order from Australia, hoping that they would call him Gator. Didn't work. Try as he might, nothing stuck until that day in gym class. While changing into his PE uniform, the biggest kid in school, who had the awesome nickname Bubba, yelled out, "Hey, look at Skid!" Turning around to see who Skid was, Armin saw everyone looking at him. Skid? Why Skid? I'm not even moving. Ever since that moment, he walks down the hall. Kids say, "Hey, Skid." People ask his friends, "Hey, is Skid joining us for lunch?" His older brother calls him Skid. His younger sister calls him Skid. Even the school librarian says, "Hi, Skid." One day, he's sitting out in a fishing boat on Lake Wobegon, and he catches a fish. And he's about to take this fish home to eat it, and the fish says to him, "Do you know I'm actually a misplaced travel guide?" And Skid says, "I did not know that. That's still not going to stop me from eating you." And the fish says, "Listen, if you let me go, I'll give you a wish." And Skid says, "Well, I've always wanted a nickname." So the fish says, "I'm going to send you on a trip to the one person who can give you a nickname. I'm going to send you to see the department store Santa." Skid puts the fish back in the water. He wakes up and he's at Lord & Taylor's, and there is department store Santa saying, "Tell me your wish." Skid said, "I always wanted a real nickname." Department store Santa said, "From now on, you will be known as Armand Pitts." Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much.
We got about 4 minutes, yeah, so time for a few questions for our two spontaneous narrative writers. Surely there has to be a question somewhere. Okay, I'm going to get over there. Do you want to shout it out? Go ahead.
Was that on like your entire setup, or was that just an afterthought?
The last one? Yeah, I was running out of time, so I was like trying to figure out like a stupid way to end it, and so I had the idea at the beginning, but I didn't know that that was going to be how I settled in, and I'm not crazy about the final effort, but it was the best I could do.
Hannah, go ahead, shout it out.
For who's that for? Miss all of us? I'll let you.
I just started typing furiously, and then as I started typing, the story started happening. At first, he was going to Oahu, and I was like, I'll figure out how to make that funny later. I don't know. And then I got to the end and realized, like, Catman, I'm going with it. At the last minute, I put the Go Cats thing in there. Yay.
I had to break away from one of my all-time favorite movies is Christmas Story, where the department store Santa sends the kid, Ralphie down the ramp, and he's like a jerk. And then I was thinking of Elf, and I was thinking of that movie a lot. So I had to kind of break free from the Christmas theme because I thought, of course, that's so obvious with the department store Santa. And then when I got the idea of the nickname, like what would be a really bad nickname, that's where the story started coming to me.
I don't think he was asking us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How stressing was it to write in 20 minutes? Like how?
I told Miss Torrence that it reminded me of being in college and having to do our exams where they give you a blue book and they say you've got 50 minutes and you open up a book and you've just got to start writing answers to questions. So it was a little stressful. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, signing up for it, I was like, that's a no-brainer. I don't have to prepare anything. Sign me up. And then as the day came closer, I was like, what if I black out? What if I panic? What if there's nothing at all? And I was talking with Mr. Olszewski and someone else in the hall, and we were joking, like, I'll just write, like, my dog ate my homework, and I couldn't come up with anything better because I was real busy last night. And I had, like, a whole host of excuses in case nothing came to me. I was really afraid. But it worked out.
What was stressful? Like, I wrote mine by hand, but Miss Torrance was typing, and I could hear her keys like, and I'm like, holy cow, she's on fire. Like, she's just going at it. And then I was like, just feeling inadequate.
Yeah, front left, question up here.
Well, I was trying to think of an unfortunate nickname, and I don't know why and what this says about me, but that came to my mind. And I don't really have a personal reason that I thought of that, but yeah.
I had nothing, and I was writing Blinky in all caps so that when I came up with a better idea, I would obviously replace Blinky because that was a nothing idea. But it came to me when I said blinking lights, it just Blinky. And then when I got to that part of the story, I thought, well, that's not an offense. I didn't want to pick a nickname that was like mean or cruel. So I thought blinking is really a sweet gesture. Blinky's fine. I'll just leave Blinky. I'm out of time. That's how I came up with Blinky.
Have a great day, guys.